lands of the Wurundjeri people. I offer my respects to the Wurundjeri elders past and present and to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Members of the gallery, please note this meeting is being recorded and web streamed live to Council's website. The recording will also be available as video on demand. Gallery attendees are advised they will be recorded during the meeting. Councillors, just a reminder that in line with the adopted Code of Conduct principles as outlined in the Councillor Code of Conduct, councillors should ensure they conduct themselves in the meeting with integrity, impartially exercise their responsibilities in the interests of the local community, and not improperly seek to confer or advantage any person. This behaviour will support leadership and good governance and secure the public confidence in the office of councillor. So I'll introduce the councillors we have here this evening. I'd like to introduce Councillor Natalie Abood, Councillor Sue Bolton,
Hi.
Councillor Anna-Olivia Carly-Hannon, Councillor Ali Ilfrani, the Deputy Mayor Councillor Samantha Ratnam, myself Councillor Helen Davidson, Councillor John Kavanagh,
Good evening.
Councillor Dale Martin, Councillor Mark Riley, and Councillor Lambros Tapinos, and Councillor Oscar Yildiz. And the officers in attendance tonight are Moreland CEO Nerina de Lorenzo, Director of Corporate Services James Scott, Director of City Infrastructure Grant Thorne, Director of Planning and Economic Development Kirsten Costa, Director of Social Development Arden Joseph, Executive Manager of Organisation Development Anita Craven, and Manager of Property and Governance Olivia Wright. And there's no apologies for this evening, so I'll move on to declarations of interest or conflicts of interest. Councillor Abood?
Yep, I have a conflict of interest, indirect conflict of interest with the Pentridge issues around.
Thank you. I'll note that, and then when that item does come up on the agenda, I'll just ask that you step out and then return following the voting on that. Councillor Martin?
Yeah, I'd just like to flag that one of the petitions in the gallery tonight is for the street that I live in, so I won't be voting on that petition.
Okay. Do you wish to remain in the gallery?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I'll abstain.
Okay. Those are noted.
Just get out of the room for the petition.
Yeah, maybe I'll.
Okay. Well, when that petition comes, it's up to you whether or not you wish to stay or leave, but potentially it might be worthwhile to err on the side of caution and
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So we'll have a confirmation of the minutes for the meeting held on the 7th of December 2016. Moved by Councillor Ratnam.
Yes, and I'd like to move a slightly different motion. So one is to confirm the minutes of the 7th of December 2016 meeting, but also we're making an amendment to the 10th August 2016 council meeting. And I'll just explain, just provide a bit of a rationale for the gallery. There was an error in recording one resolution regarding the Pentridge Heritage Precinct. The motion was correctly read out in the chamber and resolved by council. However, it was incorrectly recorded in the minutes and wasn't picked up in time. So we're just recording, we're now correcting the minutes for the record to reflect the motion that was resolved by this council, which was a sort of 10-point motion. So I won't read the complete motion. However, it will appear on the screen in a few seconds, just the technical difficulties. And I'll ask for a seconder before proceeding.
Sure. What I might do is I might split those into two. So for the first motion for the moving of the meeting held on the 7th of December, Councillor Ratnam will move that. Is there a seconder to move that particular motion? Councillor Bolton? All those in favour? I declare that carried. Now, the motion for the correction for the minutes back in August, the 10th of August 2016 is appearing on the screen. Councillor Ratnam has moved that. Is there a seconder to... Is it Councillor Bolton? Is there any further discussion on that? No? In that case, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? I declare that carried. Now we'll move on to petitions for this evening. There's one petition that's been noted, the public lighting in Witten Street in Coburg. Is there a mover for this petition? Councillor Bolton? And is there a seconder? Councillor Yildiz. Is there any discussion on this petition? No? I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? I declare that carried. Now, I know on the agenda there is a second petition. However, this was tabled last November and was accepted last November. So we won't need to put that to the vote at all because it's already been dealt with. Now, are there any other petitions from councillors for tonight? Councillor Abu?
Yeah, I'm not sure how this works, but I know that Mr. Ibrahim has a petition that I would be happy to table if that's the procedure.
I think
Or does he have to present
Ibrahim
himself?
can present it
Okay,
himself
yep.
if he wishes to. Yep. So if there's no further petitions from...
Yeah, I'll sneak in. Yeah.
Okay. If there's no further petitions from councillors, I know Mr. Ibrahim has one he would like to petition. So please come forward if you wish to do so and speak to it. I'll just
Stand at
behind the
the-
lectern.
On the mic, oh, sorry. Well, last year, we had a problem in the parking in Wolseley Street, where everybody signs, park their car, and the sign on one side, it's free to park all day. On the other side, it's 2 hours. But the two sides are full up. Any of the residents up in Wolseley Street comes to park their car, there is no chance at all. And I put the complaint. They sent me a letter back from the city council saying to go for petition. I done the petition. People in Wolseley Street has signed, and you can see.
Great.
Good.
Would you
Thank
like to present the petition? Would you like to bring the petition forward? So that,
State how many.
thank you.
So with the petition, we could sit and discuss it with any of you or the transport officer who's responsible, and we could show him on the ground how it is, so we solve the problem. Because it's like you move the car, 5 minutes, just for 5, come back, you know where to park your car. And this issue, it's only been for the last 3 years. Before that, we know. Mark was here. He knows he lives in the street too, and we are both of us on the paper. We done the petition.
Yeah, I just want to say a couple of words. Evening, councillors. Marcus Banks. I'm at 19 Wolseley Street. You may know where Wolseley Street is. It's near the corner of Moreland Road and Sydney Road. All the streets around there. We did a drive around it with my daughter the other day and had a look at the streets around the area. They're all restricted on both sides. Now, I've also put in an individual objection in the last few months and been advised that policy is that one side is unrestricted. Now, we're not asking for any special consideration. We're asking for what is normal in the area. The pressure's been building up. We've got there's a lot of high-rise developments happening along that section of Sydney Road. People are worried. We had a street meeting last Monday week, and this is the car parking aspect of that issue is being raised in the form of a petition tonight for council to consider the parking processes with the pressures that are developing near that intersection. So we've got 2 proposals there. We're open to others, but we're just wanting to ease the pressure on the parking issue there. So if council could consider that and get back to Ibrahim, he's one of the signatures on the front, as well as the first signature on the petition, which is Bill, down the end of the street, William.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for that presentation as well as the petition. Now I'll put that to, is there a councillor who wishes to move accepting the petition?
Yes,
Councillor Abood, seconded by Councillor Riley.
Say something quickly.
Yes, sure. Councillor Bolton.
I think after hearing the comments by Ibrahim and Marcus, I think it'd be good to actually organise a meeting on the street, because sometimes it's good to see the situation in person, and that seemed like it was a request from you. So I think that'd be something that we should organise.
Yep, sure. That can be noted as well, and I'm sure that would follow after receipt of the petition as well.
can I say a few words?
Councillor Tapinos.
It seems to me that we do have a policy in regards to these matters that involves some community consultation as well, an official survey that does get sent out. So in the interest of speeding things up, is it possible potentially to undertake that process of consultation with the street? And if it doesn't meet the policy, which it probably doesn't, if that is true, that one side of the policy needs to be non-restrictive, that a report be presented for council for decision. And that might be an easier way of having this issue resolved as opposed to going through the process and being told why the policy doesn't allow it, because that's probably what the end outcome will be, and then we can have a decision in the chamber.
Thank you, Councillor Tapinos.
So just through the Mayor, any of these matters can come up as council reports. So I think working through the issue, seeing where are the issues from a policy perspective and how might it be solved, I think is the first step. If it's a policy limitation, any of these issues can come back before council for a council decision. It would just mean that officers could not make the decision because it would be different.
Yep. Is there any further discussion from councillors? If not, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? I declare that carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further petitions from the gallery?
5 minutes.
No? Okay. We'll move on to reports from committee to council. So the first one we have is the Metropolitan Transport Forum from October 2006.
Mayor Davidson, I'm happy to move all of the reports from committees to council en bloc, if that's acceptable.
Yes, Councillor Ratnam.
There's an amendment to one of the set of minutes that are to make the Housing Advisory Committee, so if you could pull that out, I'd be happy for the rest en bloc.
Yep.
Sure.
I'm happy to second the rest of this block.
Second by Councillor Kavanagh. All those in favour moving those reports en bloc, save for the one Councillor Ratnam mentioned? I declare that carried. Councillor Ratnam?
Yes, I'd like to move RCC 417, which is a Housing Advisory Committee meeting minutes of September 2016, and I'd like to move the recommendations with an additional point 2 that we request that future minutes from the Housing Advisory Committee provide greater detail about the items discussed, and happy to speak to it if I have a second.
Second by Councillor Abood. Councillor Ratnam?
I think it's relatively self-explanatory, but it'd be great to hear a little bit more in the detail in the minutes about a number of the substantive items which I know are being considered by the Housing Advisory Committee. And on that note, I just want to commend the work the Advisory Committee is doing, particularly with our affordable land house work that we've been doing over the last couple of years. They've been driving some really incredible work for this council, and this is purely administrative.
Thank you, Councillor Ratnam. Councillor Abood, do you wish to add anything further? No. Is there any further discussion from councillors? No. Okay, I'll pop that to the vote. All those in favour? I declare that carried. So we'll move on to question time now. And this is an opportunity for 30 minutes for citizens of Moreland to raise questions with councillors. And I'll just outline the process from here. Please note that if your question relates to a matter of any of the reports in this meeting, this is the time to raise it with us. There will be a maximum of 2 questions allowed per person, and a maximum of 3 questions will be heard on any one subject. Council will then proceed to the next subject, returning to the previous subject if time allows. If your question cannot be answered, it will be taken on notice and responded to between now and the next council meeting. If a response to your question is provided at tonight's meeting, there will be no further formal response. However, council will action any commitments made when answering the question. So we have 30 minutes, and I want to make sure we hear all the questions, so I ask that we don't enter into a debate during this time, and if we need to have more time, we can set aside that outside this forum. Also, councillors, I'll be accepting an answer to a question from either one councillor or one officer, and we should address each question succinctly. So I'll note the commencement of the time as being 7:14. And we'll move on to the first question for tonight's agenda. Okay. I believe we have 2 on the upcoming report for C159. So I'll ask Liz Sharman to come to the lectern.
Hello everybody, thanks Council for the opportunity. I do know some of your faces. In August last year, I went to the State Planning Panel in connection with the block, the Neighbourhood Centre block, which is Melville Road, Victoria Street, Hunter Street and Daly Street. And the subject of the submission that I put in with another person was that Daly Street runs into Burnell Street. Both Hunter Street and Daly Street have heritage overlay, but the entire block, Victoria Street, Melville Road, Hunter and Daly, had been assigned under as a neighbourhood centre. So it's 4 stories in what is otherwise a 2-storey street. Now, the subject of the main point of our submission was that Burnell Street is actively an extension of Hunter Street, and the Burnell Street had been stepped down so that it was 4-storey, which you can